In 2002, iRobot released their first robot vacuum, which they called the Roomba Intelligent FloorVac. You could purchase one at Brookstone, the Sharper Image, or on iRobot's cutting-edge Flash website if you had $199, which was the suggested retail price. Well, as you may know, iRobot has come a long way since then, and this year in 2019, they've released what I think is their best robot vacuum yet. So I thought I would test the original Roomba Intelligent FloorVac using the same criteria and tests that I use for modern robot vacuums to see how the original stands up. I will also compare those results to the super popular Roomba 600 series as well as with the brand new Roomba S9 Plus. And I have to tell you, there were some surprises. So links in the description to all the Roombas I'll mention, and let's get started. So let's start out with the basic construction and cleaning performance. One of the more interesting things I noticed was how similar the original Roomba was to the 600 series, which is still being produced today. I mean, there are some small changes, like the front wheels now swivel where they didn't before, and there are slight changes to the spinning side brush, which used to look like 3 spinning toothbrushes, and the main drive wheels have different treads, but the basic construction of the dual brush roll, for example, is very similar to the 600 series. The dustbin, on the other hand, was still a work in progress. It has basically 2 chambers you have to empty, but even if you combine their capacities, it could still only hold about 250 milliliters of debris, which is incredibly small. So I started out with some simple pickup tests, and I was really impressed. The original Roomba had incredible mechanics, picking up the debris from hard floors really well. In fact, I would say it was at least as good as the 600 series and much better than some of the cheap fly-by-night robot vacuums being produced today. It may have scattered some debris a little more than I would like, but in general, it was better than the average modern robot vacuum at pure debris pickup mechanics. Despite the original's great showing on the pickup test, the Roomba S9 Plus was better and more efficient with pickup. I mean, it does have 17 years more experience, so let's not get carried away. One of the really surprising results was with the original's carpet deep cleaning ability, and I guess I need to back up a little and explain why I think it was so amazing. So we test carpet deep cleaning ability by taking exactly 100 grams of sand and embedding it into medium pile carpet, running the robots for 5 minutes, then weighing the dustbins to see how much they picked up. I wasn't expecting much from the original Roomba because I didn't measure very much airflow in our tests. In fact, it was so low it didn't even register on my anemometer. For comparison, I measured 7 CFM on the Roomba 690, and the new Roomba S9 got 22 CFM of airflow, the highest I've measured so far. Despite this tiny motor, the original Roomba uses it in conjunction with the dual brush system very effectively, and it scored a 79% on our deep clean test. That would be tied for a Vacuum Wars record if it had not been for the recent Roomba S9 Plus, which destroyed the previous record with an unprecedented 95%. In other words, the original Roomba was as good or better at deep cleaning carpets than almost every robot vacuum on the market 17 years later. Okay, so let's talk about navigation. The original Roomba FloorVac was a random navigation robot vacuum, which means that other than a few programmed actions, it bounced around more or less randomly to clean rooms. This is compared to the modern smart robot vacuums, which use cameras or lasers to map out your house and clean in straight-ish lines. The only choice you had back then was to choose whether you were vacuuming a small, medium, or large room, and I'm glad we moved on from that system. So the first interesting thing is that in our navigation test, when compared to the modern Roomba 690, which is also a random navigation robot, there was almost no difference. After 10, 20, and 25 minutes, the original Roomba was at least as good as the Roomba 690. But the really interesting thing was when I added 2 of the smart navigation Roombas, the i7 Plus and the S9 Plus, to the mix. I think anyone would be hard-pressed to see much of a difference between these 4 robot vacuums in terms of coverage after 10, 20, and finally 25 minutes. Now don't get me wrong, I much prefer smart navigation robot vacuums for whole house navigation and cleaning and for making sure it gets every area, but you have to admit the original Roomba can hold its own with the big boys in terms of single room coverage, which is a testament to the original algorithm. It wasn't all rainbows and unicorns though. For example, it still got pretty tangled up in our hair test with 1 gram of 7-inch hair, which to be fair is a problem that has only recently been solved with premium robots like the S9 Plus. Its Crevice Pickup was also pretty dismal, probably the worst score I've seen, which is mostly due to its lack of airflow. The lack of airflow did come in handy with the battery life results. Now, I had a brand new battery that I bought, but I couldn't be sure how close it was to the original, so I just took the original specifications from Roomba, which stated that it could get between an hour and an hour and a half depending on the floor type, which is pretty amazing considering how far battery technology has come in the last 17 years. But again, I think that great battery life is mostly due to it not having to power a large suction motor. So at the end of this experiment, the new S9 Plus is the clear winner with its updated specs and futuristic features like the self-emptying clean base and all the app features. But I think this shows that the original Roomba was an exceptional piece of engineering that was so well conceived that it not only launched a billion-dollar industry, its design has remained largely unchanged and frequently copied as the default design of robot vacuums by upstart robotics companies. So cheers to iRobot for all their hard work, and links in the description. Be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars to keep up with all the latest robot vacuums, regular vacuums, and carpet cleaners, and thanks for watching.